Woman accused of running over her boyfriend, who was a Boston police officer, and killing him. But her attorney says there's brand new evidence that shows that it may very well have been other officers who are responsible for his murder. Chanley Painter has the story tonight.
John O'Keefe was a good cop, and he was a good man. That's why my client was with him.
Karen Reed is accused of causing the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, after a night of heavy drinking. Prosecutors claim Reed backed her car into O'Keefe during a snowstorm and left him to die. But Reed's defense says the Commonwealth has it all wrong.
With each new piece of evidence that comes in, we're more and more convinced of my client's innocence.
O'Keefe's snow-covered body was found outside the home of another officer in Canton, Massachusetts. According to the prosecution's statement of the case, the couple was invited to the house after the bars in downtown Canton closed. Witnesses told investigators they last saw the couple at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Others said they saw a black SUV resembling Reed's parked outside the house, but never saw O'Keefe come inside. Reed told investigators that she dropped him off at the after-party and never heard from him again.
She went home to take care of the kids, and then she called him 49 times. Where are you? Why aren't you back? She was the one to go back to that residence to look for him. She was the one to find him. She was the one to try and keep him warm and give him CPR and try and revive him.
But Norfolk County prosecutors question those actions. They claim voicemails and text messages detail strains in the relationship and the victim's desire to end their relationship, including a voicemail from the night he died in which Reed allegedly told O'Keefe that she hated him. Also, O'Keefe's niece and nephew who lived with him allegedly told police that the couple fought constantly about the relationship and breaking up before his death. Prosecutors point to a broken taillight on Reed's SUV, pieces of which were allegedly found near O'Keefe's body, to suggest she ran her car into him. A forensic pathologist opined that significant blunt force trauma injuries occurred prior to Mr. O'Keefe becoming hypothermic. Cuts and bruises were found on O'Keefe's head and arm.
Somebody being hit by a car, I would submit, does not look like they had been punched out by Mike Tyson. And the victim here looked like he had been punched out by Mike Tyson.
Reed's lawyer, David Yannetti, says his client is not responsible for O'Keefe's injuries.
I believe that the evidence shows that she didn't hit him. I've said in the past that his injuries are not consistent with being hit by a vehicle. And by the way, the Lexus taillight breaking, coming in contact with a human being and not a hard surface, makes no sense to me. I think it's going to make no sense to a jury.
If not Reed, who? Her lawyer says that there's a lot they still don't know.
This is a case where the homeowner, being a Boston police officer, was treated differently than he would have been if he were you or me.
And now the defense has made an announcement about new evidence. Listen closely. As we explained in the motion, they filed a motion relative to this, we have discovered that Jennifer McCabe, homeowner, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, was searching on her phone, quote, how long to die in cold, on January 29th, 2022 at 2:27 a.m. The prosecution has maintained that John O'Keefe's body was not discovered in Brian Albert's yard until 6 a.m., some 3.5 hours later. As we stress in the motion, there is simply no innocent explanation for McCabe's search at that time. This evidence unequivocally exonerates Karen because it establishes that individuals who were in the house at 34 Fairview that night were aware that John was dying in the snow before Karen even knew he was missing. As has been widely reported, Karen Reed has vigorously maintained her innocence from the outset of this matter. Ms. Reed's defense team has indicated it looks forward to presenting this explosive evidence in court at the next hearing, May 3rd, 2023. What is going to happen on May 3rd? Let's bring back in the think tank. Renee Hill, straight to you. What's going to happen?
Sounds like the defense is coming in with the gloves on. They are ready to let this court know that the prosecution has been hiding evidence, essentially, that it wasn't turned over when it should have been turned over, and that it's exculpatory. And we've seen in the past, Vinny, where things like this can cause a huge problem for the prosecution when they don't turn things over that they're supposed to turn over in a timely fashion. So I think the defense is going to lay all of that out to the court, and the prosecution is going to have to explain it.
Is this about not turning things over, or is this about somebody else potentially committed this killing, this murder, Al?
It's a little bit of both, Finn. I mean, first off, they're supposed to be giving all of the evidence that they have. And obviously this phone...
Well, they got it at some point, text, I guess.
Well, they got it, but if you take a look at this, the defense really had to, like, go do cartwheels in order to get this information. So it also points to a potential other suspect, which is something that, you always want to have when you're defending somebody in this kind of a case. I mean, the defense made some decent points with regards to the fact that, the rear light, being broken by hitting a person in the snow who would fall down. I mean, and the types of injuries, do seem like it could be someone who backed over somebody, but it also could be somebody who had been beaten up. And there is an issue with regards to that question. And the answer to the question, how long you can be out there before you die of cold, is anywhere from 10 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the temperature. So I looked it up too. So if I get in trouble, I'm on the show, and I've just given myself an excuse.
Darnell, what's going on here? What happens if Jennifer McCabe is subpoenaed and takes the fifth? What does that mean, if that happens?
Well, typically you can't take the fifth unless you're being investigated or you're exposed to some kind of criminal liability. I don't think it's just you can't just take it just to take it. So if she does take the fifth, it will lead me to believe that she's under some type of investigation. But I would say the real elephant in the room here is that it's going to be a scandal if a police officer is responsible for killing another police officer. So as the defense attorney indicated, I think that that's the preferential treatment that we're seeing because this person is a cop, and it was other cops that potentially killed him. So I do think that. And if I could just add, since we talk about preferential treatment, just a brief Al-type story. Renee Hill was on a trial in the Bronx. My mother was on a jury and came home bragging and talking about this attorney. And up to now, she won't stop talking about this attorney. And I finally met Attorney Hill one time in White Plains Court. And I was like, I thought I saw a rock star. So this is my second time meeting Attorney Hill.
You did. You did. All right. Stay where you are, folks. This hearing, May 3rd, Massachusetts.